Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, welcome back to week three. Actually, I guess it'd be week 6, episode 3 of Tow Truck Tuesday. We're going to dive into it heavy today, no pun intended. It might be diving off old rigs, might be diving into trucking rigs, but hey, we're going to dive into some serious conversations today. Welcome to Tow Truck Tuesday.
What's up, broski?
It's 1st and 10, baby, on a Tuesday. We're rocking and rolling. How you doing, brother?
Man, dude, I'm doing all right, man. It's been been a good day. Been a good day. Got some freight covered. Talking to a customer about a new lane. Had a really good meeting about some lounge stuff. So yeah, good stuff. What about you, bro?
Dude, same. Dragging a little ass today. Had a buddy in town. I was telling old Narc earlier. I was like, dude, I never go to Broadway unless it's family and friends in town. And wouldn't you know it, Cameraman Joe's parents were in town, and my buddy DeRojas is in town. DJ Rojas. We got the same birthday, so I had to go to Broadway last night. But you know, it's a beautiful day to be alive. And glad to have some new faces in the crowd. Billy Bob, what's up? Dr. Bill Tattoos, Logistics Lounge, what's going on?
I'm just going through them, bro. I'm just going through
Sir, Ken Oath, let's go. Cancel Salty. I don't know who Salty is. Let's go. Adam Gallagher. You guys look like real winners. You too, brother. Ken Oath. I think that's a dig on Ken Oaks, but this isn't a logistics show. You know what today's show is about? Our buddy Narc. Narc, welcome to Tow Truck Tuesday.
What is up, fellas? What's up,
No intro video?
No intro video. Okay. I didn't even think about that part. I was just so excited about today's show.
No intro video.
Damn it.
Man, dude. Golly, see, this is what happens. All right, everybody bear with us. Everybody sit here for 15 minutes. We got to let Hunter make an intro video. Narc, just chill, bro.
There needs to be an intro video.
Word, Narc. Don't say shit. You just chill and wait.
Making me look bad. Narc, how's it going, brother? Love the backdrop. Love that you're here with us today. How's it going, dude?
It's going, bro.
I heard that. Hey, Pedro.
It is going. End of a Tuesday. Can't beat that, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Well, hey, man, before we dive into your backstory, who you are, Pedro, you got some news for us today, brother?
I do, man. I got some cool little news. You know, we only do the news on the Tow Truck Tuesday if it has something to do with our guests and stuff. So this was a pretty cool one. We're going to go ahead and do this. We need to make a news video for Tow Truck Tuesday because this one obviously isn't it. Okie dokie, artichoke. We actually touched on this earlier this year, so kind of some continuing coverage. But earlier this year, Overdrive reported a dispute between the NOOA, the National Owner Operators Association, and their leasing program called NOAA Logics. Since then, NOAA's Mike Boston has acknowledged some mistakes in the leasing program. The owner operator program. Sorry. The early report detailed a conflict between NOAA and what NOAA's representative says was their first ever leased owner, Mr. Russell Holland. Holland accused Boston of misrepresenting insurance costs, which came in significantly higher than he thought. Also having to deal with the reinstated MC number that made brokers deny them for being too new. Since then, though, two additional owners have shared stories that closely mirror Holland's. That's Jan and Rob Baker. They leased on with Boston and his WM On Time trucking fleet about a year before Holland did on January 9th, 2023. Their lease agreement looked a lot like Russell Holland's. The Baker's contract had them paying $2,000 into an escrow and agreed to pay Boston 20% for every load. For the Bakers, though, things got ugly, they said. They said that Boston was blaming them, saying they were bad owners. They did not know what they were doing. And the Bakers took offense to that because they've got 50 years in transportation experience, Jan, the wife, added, spanning 2 countries, and both have been truck and bus operators. Boston then, according to Baker, denied ever having promised them dedicated runs, and they were solely running off the load board. All the contracts they were promised, Boston said had flamed out and were not going to be able to be done. So the Bakers decided to part ways. And they say, of course, in the end, that Boston kept their settlement from all of their final loads. It doesn't give an account for the loads or the amount, and the $2,000 in escrow money. The Bakers did take Boston straight to court. They won a default judgment in small claims court in the 12th Judicial Circuit in Lee County, Florida. They said Mr. Boston didn't even show up for court that date, and the judgment entitled the Bakers to $3,052.97 plus a fee of $350, which will gain interest until Boston pays. So, man, talk a lot about those predatory lease programs,
Going to the load boards on
predatory leasing, huh?
Dude. Wild. Narc, go on and take the wheel, brother, man.
Dude. Well, I mean, you want to talk about this? You want to talk about this? All right. So, I mean, when I came to, I've only been at X, I'll say solidly for about 3 months, mid-May, something like that. But before that, right, my whole goal on here was fucking with these guys that are doing not so much predatory leasing, but guys that go and do referrals as company, or as lease ops to megas to bring in not shipbacks, new people, so they can get referral money and then jam it right up there as soon as they get there. So Noah, which I've been saying for a couple months, is dirty as dirty can get. Their lease shit is dirty, and there's proof right there, right? People have been saying that since before. Because I'm buddies with Sage, right? So Sage has been telling me this for months. You got to get in here and get in on this Noah stuff. These guys are dirty. Sadly, it's typical, right? It's typical. It's just a lie, promise the world on the front end, and once you got you locked in, you can't go anywhere for a minute. You have to let it ride, right? You have to let all this shit ride out until it gets too bad where you can't deal with it. I don't know how many people are in the chat, but I could probably back up 10 to 20 people that basically spend all their life savings to go to do this exact thing that Noah's doing, sadly.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we'll save a little bit of this for later on in the end of the show on how you got to where you are now. But to kick it off, Pedro, who's helping us out today with Tow Truck Tuesday?
Oh man, y'all see, it's Truck Parking Club. Truck Parking Club. Yes. The homies. Hey, you need yourself a good place to park. Everyone really knows who Truck Parking Club is. I really don't know what I could say about them. They're guy hunters, just too awesome. Hey, look, y'all know what they do. They've got an expansive app with properties all over the place. I've lost count. I think their last post was almost 700 different properties. So, you're looking for a place to park, go ahead, download the app, use that code Lounge365, and get up to $25 off your first park with Truck Parking Club.
Absolutely. As important as people place it to park your ass in the seat, drivers should make it that much of a importance to park your truck in a safe place. And dude, they even got spots where you can go fishing. Park your truck, go out there, sit at a picnic table, cook up a couple burgers. But truckparkclub.com. Great spot. But great spot to be is here at Tow Truck Tuesday. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. NARC, we got about 54 people watching right now, and a lot of them are people that you know, but the folks that are here from our side of life want to know, who is NARC and how did you get to where you are today?
Let's see. I was born in a small hospital, small town, Indiana. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude.
So, I mean, my background is when I graduated high school in '99. Now, where you want to start at? You want to start mechanic side? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Or where at?
Wherever you want to start, man, and bring it over to the mechanic side.
So
yeah.
Yep. So I graduated high school in '99. I went to Nashville Auto Diesel, which is in Nashville, Tennessee. I think it's a Lincoln school now. You're in Nashville. I honestly, I should know that, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's over there.
I'm 99% sure they're
Armory
Lincoln
Drive
type. Of course, off Gallatin. Yeah. That's in the hood, right? Rough area. I don't know if it's rough now. But when I what's up, Josh?
What's up, NARC?
When I graduated, I signed on immediately or hired on with an offshore company, Texaco Chevron's who I hired on with, but I hired on as a third-party team member with them, which is something I assume that's common in offshore. Basically, I worked through, they paid me, but I was considered like a vendor on the rigs, and I did nothing but power generation. So all the generators that ran, obviously the lights on, 4 months off, signed 4-year contracts. That's pretty much it. Lived in the Gulf, or lived in Louisiana. I was born in Indiana, lived in Indiana at the time, but obviously moved to Louisiana. And did that for a while. Didn't sign another contract. Basically my third contract, which would have been going in my 9th year, because I was young and dumb and full of cum and lived in Louisiana, had lots of money. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I had a fallback. I helped a guy with a swimming pool company. I did all his maintenance for the few years before I went back up to Indiana, which was 2012-ish, I think early 2013. And then when I got up here, I just started working on trucks and equipment, specializing in they off-road equipment, off-road trucks like mixer trucks, articulating trucks, stuff like that, which we don't have a lot of that down here, but it's up north. But since then I've just been wrenching day in and day out, loving life, right?
All right, bro. So hey, here's what, that's what I want to know, man, is I want to know what made you want to become a grease monkey. And I want to know this, but also we have a good friend of ours, Steve Talamo. His son is actually going to diesel school. So, want to know, like, what was your interest now? I mean, did you grow up, having to fix things, at home or whatever? What was your passion behind trying to get into the diesel side of things?
Yep. So I grew up. So the town I grew up in was about 30 miles south of Indy. It's just a big farm town, big redneck farm town. I grew up on a medium-sized cattle farm, I guess. I don't know, compared for this area. And everybody else around us were crop farmers. So everything that I was around as a kid was equipment and trucks and trucking. So, and pretty much everybody fixed everything in house. And that's how I got into it. I mean, there was never a question. Of course, my schooling probably wouldn't have let me, well, I don't know. It probably would have let me go to a regular college, but my high school days were, far between, as it were. So it was pretty easy to get in at tech school, because as long as you got the money, they'll let you in, right? But yeah, that's that. I wasn't any plan but to do that.
Love it. So, oil rigs, man.
I'm assuming.
What was it like being on an oil rig for 8 months at a time? That's insanity.
So it's not even explainable, because one thing that's not explainable that I've talked to, I mean, lots of people about is, if you don't live in the South, right? Like, you don't live near a body like the ocean or the Gulf, and you've never seen a cruise ship. Like most people, a lot of people don't know what the size of a cruise ship is, right? You see them on TV, but you, like, compared to your car or your pickup truck, you don't realize the bulk and the size of it. So
That's true.
a lot of people don't know what the size of oil rigs are either. And I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't
dude,
either. I had no clue, right? I wasn't 20 years old when I hit put my foot on the rig. I was 19. Almost 20, but I wasn't 20 yet. I couldn't drink. It was pretty crazy. I will say the first 3 months were rough. The first 4 years I was out there was no cell phones, right? It was 2000, 01, 02. Obviously there weren't any there. I mean, there were cell phones, but there weren't out in the Gulf of Mexico. So it was chaos. It was just like living in your own little world. It's literally just a little city. It's a little community, right? You get to know all the guys that are on my contract, but most oil rig and roustabout guys travel in 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off, or some schedule like that. They come in and out. So, and I don't know. I mean, it was pretty wild. I can tell you, it's almost like living on a bar, full time with no drinking and no cash money, but the fighting and the arguing was there, and it was all men, which maybe sounds, but it was all men all the time, right? And I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of rules, and I can tell you that was in the early 2000s. So I can only imagine what it was like, just like trucking back in the the late 80s, and I don't know, whenever, how wild it was. I mean, all they gave a shit is you showed up and did what you were supposed to do, right? And that was pretty much put in hard hours all day, every day, on a rotating shift. So.
Hey, Narc, you're a crazy
wild
motherfucker. You want to know why you're crazy, dude? Because I seen that movie with
Marky Mark.
Mark Wahlberg when he was on the rig.
Yeah,
Narky Narc.
Dude, that movie made me cry, man. Like that was Bluewater Horizon or something like that. Or
you want to know something crazy? Deepwater Horizon. Yeah, so that was the first rig I logged almost 12 hours on that rig in 2000, 2001. And they used to be, when I first started going out there, when you hit a rig, didn't matter who you were, but you got like a little care package, right? They give you gloves, hard hat if you didn't have one, of course, safety glasses, whatever the rig was. If it's Texaco, Chevron, or BP, that was all monitored in their stuff. And everybody got a little book, a little tablet book, and that was the log, because back then there weren't, I mean, computers were around, but they weren't for the roustabout. So you logged everything, and I have my Deepwater Horizon book inside. It's down in a box somewhere, because I would log my day to day and what we did with engines and all that shit. But yeah, I logged a bunch of time on that rig, and it was pretty. That rig was pretty much the way it was. It's kind of hard to explain what a rig is what it looks like, because it's just a big box, right?
Yeah,
with nothing but hallways, and everyone splits off to workshops and you name it, man. It's hard to.
So I got the pictures that you sent.
Yeah, there's some those are V24s, Cat V24s.
How many cylinders?
We went to the table 3.
How many cylinders are those?
Those are V24. So those are, those are V24. Don't quote me, but I think they're Cat 3165s, I think. But don't quote me on that, because I don't fucking remember. I honestly
don't. Dude.
But that's one of the guys, because like I said, we worked in teams of 3, 12 on and 12 off. So, and I didn't do a whole lot of work. I'll be honest. I got paid to do a lot of gauge watching. That was, we were there case of emergency situation. That's what we were there for. Honest answer, right?
Ethan wants to know how much torque how much torque were those making, Narc?
Oh, dude. I would lie to you, but my best guess, just I don't remember. I would say in the tens of thousands easily. because they're like they're like locomotive engines. I mean, you work on them while they're running. I mean, because they're only running at 700-800 RPMs, right? Like, I mean, that's obviously something you don't stick your hand in, but I mean, they're not like a truck engine. They're just. I mean, there's a picture in there of a turbo somewhere. My shit's all glitchy, sorry, but of a turbo in there. The turbo's the size. I don't know those turbos, and again, the pictures don't do justice, but those turbos are probably 3 foot in diameter, right? And they probably weigh 2,000 pounds a piece. The crazy shit with all that is like that picture that you just took. If you look like legs, those pictures were in the like all the generator stuff is in the bottom of the rigs, like in the legs. Like if you know what rig is, it has big legs, right? And it just floats on pontoons. Well, the pontoons are sank, how many ever feet in the water, depending on the rig, and all that stuff is in the bottom, right? That they don't have space up top, so when you went to work every day, right, you just climb down a shaft, just like a windmill or a turbine you see on the, those guys to work on those, you go up top, right? And you work on, we just hung out down in the bottom of those legs all day, every day, right? Right there, there's like a turbo for that V24. It's chaos, but the working environment's what's crazy. And like, you got to change a generator set or a set of clutches. I mean, you've got to get them up to the top, and you got to bring others back down. That's all the chaos, right? Because again, you're in a little cylinder ladder that's maybe a little bigger than me, right? The holes, the cubby holes are cut out for people like me. There ain't a lot of fat guys that work on oil rigs, or at least where I did. And you chain and come along that shit down, and you got helpers. It's pretty chaotic. If you work on like the subsea decks, where underneath you is nothing but grading and water, right? You're just working on grading all day long for however long.
How big are those?
So it's pretty chaotic. They pay you to be out there.
Go on, Josh.
How big are those?
I think the pistons in there, they're not like stupid. They're not like huge, but I would say they're probably about the size of like a volleyball. So what's that, like maybe 7 inches diameter, give or take? That would be my best guess of remembering.
That's pretty big.
I mean, because I've got, if anybody's ever seen a truck piston, right? I don't have one right here. But,
I love how he has a
truck piston. Like
I know, right?
I have one hanging on. Those are easily. What?
A truck piston just chilling there. You should get a necklace, Narc.
Yeah, so that's the chaos of it.
All right, well, hey, so Narc, my I got a final question on.
I need one. Send me one. You got the money, bro.
I know, right? Final question on the oil rigs. How did you guys deal with parts being brought in? Obviously y'all had a stock up there, on site and whatnot, but what did y'all do if you needed something that wasn't readily available? How was that brought in? What was turnaround time for that stuff? And do you have a story to share?
Well, so readily available.
And go ahead and say the first one.
So I'm laggy, so if I'm cutting you off, let me know. I know it's my shit. It's got to be my shit, and of course it doesn't lag any other time except when I'm trying to be on a podcast for the day. I mean, but there's a whole little community, right, of folks in and out all day long, coming from Josh can't fucking deal with it. Coming in and out from all over the coast, right, of work boats. So if you need a part, if you need it right now, they'll put it on a helicopter, but if not, it's on a boat, and depending on where you're at, it's depending on how long before you get it. There's not a whole lot of backup shit out there. When I was out there, they didn't keep like clutches and stuff like that on hand. So, that was just stuff,
shit.
but a lot of that stuff didn't break down like right now. Stuff happens, but most rigs are all rigs have a full-on workshop and fab shop, so if you need a hose or something made, they're going to make that right there. But if you need a cat part, if you blow, like I said, a gen set or something and you need it right now, but everything's also out there is they have backup over backup over backup over backup. I mean, for everything, for mud pumps, and I mean anything out there that's needed right now. They have that. They know that shit can't sit. You can't sit without power out there for 18 hours. So, I mean, there's 2 engines right there. Most rigs, every leg would have 2 or 3 engines in it, and it only take 2 or 3 engines to run the whole rig. So they may have 3 or 4 sets of extras sitting down there, just at an idle or not even running.
I like that, man.
Kind of like
redundancy.
I mean, boats are like that too.
Redundancy.
And like I said, I mean, I flew on. I would stay on the same rig. Like if I went out to the Deepwater Horizon, I usually would stay out there my whole 8 months. But if something happened and we had to move, I mean, they just flew a chopper out, and you got in like in a Scout or depending. I mean, whatever it was, maybe a little bigger, like an A1, like a Bell A1 or something, and they obviously would shoot you out. But I work gas side. So gas side is not off the deep shelf out in the Gulf. The shelf, I think, is about 600 miles out where it gets real deep. I didn't really work much past that 600-mile mark. So not that that's close by any means, but on a helicopter that's running a couple hundred miles an hour, right, or 150.
I was about to say, I didn't go that far.
You're not that far off the land, right?
Narc, so that's a good question. So let's say if some rigs are in international waters and some are domestic waters, right? And what happens? Who has jurisdiction in the domestic? Is it the Coast Guard? Like if some shit happens, like emergencies, and like who has jurisdiction in the international waters? I never thought about that. I'm sure you.
You know what? I'll be honest. I don't know. Well, so I know there's there's a line where it cuts off, because on some rigs we would get like a duty free, like say, because when I go out there for 8 months, right? All I was spending money on was, they do everything else, right? They feed you, they do your laundry, so you buy soap, cigarettes, porno mags back in those days, right? And buy Xbox games and VHS movies or CDs or DVDs. But so there's a line out there somewhere where it becomes international. But
So did you ever get hit with like mad hurricanes out there and shit? Like any wild times before we dive into the trucking side?
I was lucky. So my schedule, my whole, because like I said, I signed 4-year contracts. So both my contracts is I went out in November and I came back in late June. So I didn't do that on purpose. That was just how it worked out. So I missed hurricane season the whole time I was out there. There was a couple times where like tropical storms blew through, but I mean, when you're out there, I mean, if you're dependent on, which I was considered, needed, whatever, dependent on out there for power is, I mean, you just wrote it, right? Like that, and those guys would tell you stories about, I mean, they're not, obviously they aren't saying how Cat 5s come through, but I mean, those guys there's some crazy motherfuckers out there that just go up the top of the damn helipad and hold their arms out, right, and smoke a cigarette about how badass they are while the hurricane passes over.
Yeah.
That was not me. But there's guys
Fun
out
fact
there
before I dive into our next question, but Chris Christopherson from the Highwaymen with Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson himself, and Johnny Cash. Chris Christopherson was a helicopter pilot that used to land on top of those oil rigs, and he wrote a few of his songs up there. But rolling into that, how did you get into trucking mechanics from the oil rigs, and how does that compare? Like what are the differentiations? Or I guess how is trucking to you compared to the rig
so
work?
when well, I mean, I'll be honest, is for my experience, doing trucking shit sucks way worse, because there's a lot more shithead people you got to deal with, a lot more smaller equipment and dirtier equipment, and a lot more tedious little thing. But I mean, that comes with the territory. And I mean, I got into it because when I was done, and I came back on shore, when I moved back up here from Louisiana, I mean, that was my option. Like I mean, immediately came in and went to work, and I first actually started working for one of the local garbage companies here. and then realized that I didn't really want to work. I never liked semi trucks. Those were always kind of boring to me. Like just a standard semi truck. I mean, obviously they're complicated, but they're just some airlines, some airlines and an engine and some tires. I never. That's why I went offshore when I graduated school, because I wasn't interested in going to working for Caterpillar, right, or just going to work for Volvo or fucking Kenworth. It like I said, I don't know. It's not harder, but it's a lot more tedious. I can tell you, it's I don't know. I don't want to say it's easier, because it's not easier, but it's there's a lot less headaches. I mean, on my end. I mean, I'm pretty lucky in my, because I kind of run what I do, and I have for years, even though I'm at a little bit a different place, because of my experience level with what I work on. I can kind of fall in and per se be the boss, which is not always good, because that's why I stay on the road a lot, because of that. Because I'm kind of the only guy that they can call. Like today we had a truck with brake issues, and there's really no one else that can go on the side of I-70 and work on brakes on a loaded truck. I mean, it's me, but that's because we're that's the way, the nature of the beast nowadays, right? Sadly.
Wait, Narc, you do roadside too for your company if the truck is close?
Yeah. So for the company I'm at now, I do. We have 4 locations, east, south, and west, right out of Indy, and I work on our east shop. I run our east shop, which is the smaller of the shops, but I'm the only road guy they have. Now, I mean, if it's a tire or something, some of the guys go out and do tires, but 9 times out of 10, I mean, I'm if it's anything, a headlight or something stupid like that, I'm the only guy that goes out. And that's just experience level. Like, most of the guys are younger, and they don't know, and they don't understand the highway, the dangers of the highway. Because I've done road work for a long time, so it's a different animal when you're on the side of the, on I-70 or 465, or even in small cities, right? Just in towns. So yeah, I do all of that shit, which we don't have a lot of that. Luckily, our fleet's pretty good. I don't have a whole lot of that. It's not like I'm out there 24/7, but today I was out all day. It's probably the first time in a while, like all morning. I talked to Hunter, and I was on my way back from my last job.
We appreciate you taking that time. Yeah, they even got off a little bit early for the tow truck Tuesday, man.
Hell yeah,
you're a real homie, Narc.
Hey, Hunter, this was actually one of the questions that we have lined up for NARC, but Ethan went ahead and asked it. So, hey, NARC, the young man going to diesel school, Ethan, he said, "What's the craziest job you've ever done being a truck mechanic?" Or he said, "What's the craziest roadside job? Just craziest thing you've done?"
I'd say specify. So I mean, there's really two. It's the craziest thing you've seen, but the craziest thing I've done is change. Like, I mean, the craziest thing you're ever really going to do on the side of the road is figure out a way to get a truck that's not running, right, or that's not running good enough to get it off the road. So I mean, if that's duct taping, freaking shop towels to, the stupidest sounds, to a radiator line, or to a damn CAC line or something to get him off the highway. I mean, the craziest shit is accident scenes, right? If you go to somewhere there's been a wreck, and it involves one of your vehicle, one of your company vehicles, and you got to start taking tires off and chaining up brakes and chaining up axles and doing whatever the hell you got to do to get it off the road. I mean, I've never dealt with anything too awful crazy. I mean, I've had a couple guys 95 and 100,000 pounds, because we have overweight. We have ag exemptions, so we can run heavy. And basically zip tying it together so you can get it off the highway without a wrecker pulling it, right? Because I mean, when our trucks hit a car, they don't usually destroy them; they just destroy all the shit around them. They're still drivable. They just run over cars. They treat them like they're nothing.
What are you drinking there, Narc? Mellow
The
yellow?
Ethan, where's he going to school at?
Give him a second. He'll answer.
Wild Tech.
Okay.
Don't be
Is
crazy,
he?
Josh.
Okay, sweet.
Jo-
I don't know.
Josh,
I mean, I
don't
don't know much about it.
Josh don't know. Don't be
I
crazy,
don't
Josh.
know.
Josh don't know.
City
what?
Colleges of Chicago.
No, his father would never do that to him.
Wait.
Steve would never do that to his poor child.
That's right.
I think all the big schools. I mean, Nashville was a big school, and I went to it, right? And they had it set
One
up
of the
that
best.
for
Oh,
the ending
there you go. Right.
classes, your last 6 months.
See, I was close.
He said he's going
Okay.
to Dorchester County Trade School. Narc, I know you're still talking.
Okay.
It's Dorchester.
Whatever.
No, you're good. God damn it, my like bad, ain't it? Jesus Christ. It's terrible. All right. Well, yeah. So, I don't recognize that. But the biggest thing that he needs to do, and I assume they do this for him because schools like that usually do, is when he's getting close to getting ready to be out, he needs to be job hunting. Because it's been 24 years, but he needs to be job hunting before he's out of school so he can secure. I mean, I secured a job. I was lucky because my school did job fairs. I mean, my Texaco Chevron paid for 50% of my schooling, paid for me to move from Nashville to Indiana to Louisiana, right? And that was all because I set all that up ahead of time. Now, my school set me up for that, right? But all these other companies are going to do that too. And that's his biggest thing. And make sure he's, staying in top of his class, right? As best he can. There's such a need, just like truck drivers, there's such a need for skilled mechanics coming out of school that actually want to do a good job and want to be like are into semi trucks or trailers or whatever, bulldozers. That if you show any kind of motivation to that shit, you'll move right up the ladder even as a young guy, right? Like,
Hey,
I mean,
Narc.
I see it every day. There's all the guys that I work at. I mean, they're jackasses because they don't really care. It's just a job, and it's a job that pays better than most starting out, and they had some tools so they can do it, kind of thing, right?
He was saying that they have job fairs and stuff, man. And if I finish by 12th grade, they'll put him to work somewhere. It could be somewhere like Kenworth, Caterpillar, etc. So he's on a good track, man. We know his dad. He's got a great dad, man. His dad is successful in our industries, logistics and stuff. So I know he's got some good guidance. But he wanted to watch you, man, and hear about your struggles and the stuff you've been through, and ask you some questions. So thank you very much for giving him some information. And Steve, I'm sure Narc would be willing to answer some questions for Ethan if he had some. Maybe we could, if Ethan's interested, we get some questions down, shoot them over to him, or introduce him, and maybe he could help him a little bit, because I like the fact, Narc, that you didn't do what I assume, what I'm sure most people assume, is what diesel techs do when they get out of school. They go to work for places like Kenworth or Caterpillar, maybe a local shop doing that stuff. But, for someone to go out there out on the oil rigs and try something completely outrageous like that, man, that takes, I should say, confidence in yourself, and willing to risk, yourself, knowing your skills and abilities to do that. So that's cool, man. I think that's really great stuff. Most people get tied in just the normal path that they think others are going to go in. So, that's pretty good shit, man, that you went out there working those rigs and now doing roadside and worked on farm equipment. I mean, God dang, man, you are, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been blessed. I would assume a lot of mechanics are. I can pretty much fix anything, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It's all, if I kind of have to see it, right? Like I'm not a book guy. I can read through a manual. I'm not great with laptops, right? And I can peck through them, but like laptops give you, like insight on comments. Will say, do this and grab your multimeter and this, and this. I'm not good at doing any of that. I mean, I can work on anything mechanical, without really much help. As long as all the parts are there. And I mean, I would promote him, definitely tell him to get a hold of me, but I would promote him to go, because the problem with it's the problem to me is I didn't want to go to Cat or Kenworth because those are just, they pay, it's a base rate job. Of course you can move up, but you got to go and you gotta put your seniority in, and you got to do your ASE stuff.
Hey, Narc.
I'm not a school guy. I didn't want to do any of that.
Narc,
And
since you said you could fix everything,
we're gonna cut.
Can you fix that connection?
Check. No, I cannot. I just said I'm not good with laptops. You not listening, bro? Is your
connection, dog? I can't
hear you. Respect the lag. We're fighting the lag right now, but it's good. You know, there's beauty between the silence.
I did a live feed the other night. It was.
Narc, if I don't fuck with you, who's gonna do it?
Right? That's true. That's facts, bro. That's facts.
Okay, everybody's done talking, right? All right, so, Narc, what kind of tools do you need to get into this trade today? You know, for a young buck like old Talamo's son there, you know, like how has it changed? You know, like you're advancing in this. You can fix everything. Like my dad's a mechanic. He spent 10 years in the Air Force, 30 years at Delta Airlines, dude. Like I've seen a man fix a $20 plastic sprinkler in the lawn just to fucking do it. But you know, like I have so much respect for mechanics. So like, you know, for the young bucks out here, you know, we talk about drivers all the time. Like someone like you, what does it take to get into this industry today? You know, like what things have changed, and you know,
and Narc, my son's watching. He's in diesel mechanic school. He's 18.
All right, Josh, save your questions. But yeah, the cost. You know,
no, it's not a question.
Like, how does the tech afford a new setup? You know, because you got the Snap-on guy out there just selling you $700 worth of sandpaper, but I didn't need the sandpaper. But you know, I got this new hat from Snap-on after $10,000. Doesn't fit my head too good. I don't say that in a mocking way. I know this dude that's at Sam's down on the lake here in Nashville, Tennessee, but he absolutely loves it. But you know, to get started smart, you know, like just like drivers, man, they get roped into these lease operation agreements, you know, like lease to purchase type shit. So with tools, it's expensive, you know, and you need more tools to get into your craft. Pedro, thank you.
I'm the bad guy, Pedro.
Josh threw me off.
I'm the bad guy.
You threw me off, man. He threw me off. Hey, I'm just gonna sit over here and hit
my face. God damn! Ask the fucking question.
I'm just over here rapping.
Damn, you sound like Mac right now.
Well, so when I graduated school, we got a basic set, right? 3/8 everything, metric standard, sockets, ratchets, full set of wrenches, and then 1/2-inch drive stuff, and some basic, you know, pliers. I'd say it was probably an $8,000 setup. Nowadays, that's probably a $15,000 setup, right? And I don't know if the school offers that. What's up, original? What's up, fucking Thor? Good to see you, bro. Thanks for being here. Yeah. And Thor's right. Thor's an ex-mechanic too down there. Original Atcast. He's a good dude too. But
we got to get him on the show.
If you're going semi trucks, I mean, and that's what he wants to do, because there's nothing wrong with if that's what you want to do, right? Is you're going to be hand tools. And don't go crazy, because Icon, I mean, everybody knocks on Harbor Freight and stuff, but dude, that's what you buy when you start out. I was lucky, man. I signed a deal, and I signed a deal where I was making 6 figures a year at 19 years old, and I lived on a rig that for 8 months I didn't even see a paycheck. I didn't see a paycheck because I lived on an oil rig, right? I got like $200 a week to buy cigarettes and stuff. So I banked that money, but you don't want to get stuck on a tool truck. I mean, I've got a massive, I would consider a high-end setup at the shop, but I don't owe a dollar. I mean, when the Snap-on guy comes, if I ain't got cash for it, I don't buy it. And I don't need it anymore, but getting stuck behind that stuff, that's what will ruin you being a mechanic, because every week, you know, you got a house payment coming, and it will make you, it'll make you mad, right? It'll make you mad and sad, and you don't want to work on it anymore. These old cats have the tools. So I tell guys, I don't have helpers come out and help me in my yard, but if a guy meets me on a job You know, I tell him that if he needs something throughout the week, call me. Like, don't go on a Snap-on truck and buy it, right? You just need basic hand tools. You know, if you're on if it takes you longer, it takes you longer. Right out the box. It's the best advice I can give him, right? Is don't get locked in with those dudes. And I mean, the tooling hasn't changed on that stuff. He's going to learn a lot more computer, like, you know, multimeter stuff than I learned in sensors. But I mean, that's, you know, that stuff's, I'll say, it's not
Narc,
cheap, but you're only buying it once.
Sorry, Pedro.
Go ahead. Are you about to say something constructive,
No,
Josh?
I was gonna say, am I a dick for going to Harbor Freight and spending like $1,500 on my son? I didn't see no point, like, until right.
No,
go ahead, Narc. Go ahead. I'm not gonna cut you off.
Narc, yeah.
No. So when I still have, my original set from school I still have, because I lucked out I didn't need it to take it offshore. But when I came back in my first time and realized what I kind of needed, some stuff that I wanted that was just mine, right, is I went to Harbor Freight and bought it, because I knew I was going to lose half of it on the oil rig or off the oil rig, or I was going to get broke. And I mean, I did big shit, and I didn't break any of that shit. It's just like the difference between driving a Geo and a Cadillac, right? And you got, when you're young, you want the Cadillac, but when you get older, you realize the Geo does the same thing the Cadillac does.
That's right.
And, hey, if anybody needs that, go on and request your money from Daycab down here on Cash App. Money sign Daycab82. He will pay for your tools.
Right.
TC said, here's a good one. TC said Loves actually has talked about the truck stops. Has an apprentice program to become a mechanic, and they provide you tools, no schooling necessary. That's interesting, TC. Yeah, that's for Ethan says
it is.
He's got a really nice.
Hey, that's a good program too. That's a good program.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you, man. Tools.
Oh, you recommend it, Narc?
I mean, listen. If you don't want to spend the money, it's like anything else, right? It's like driving, going to choose a company to go drive for. If you're a truck driver, right? I get that he's a kid, so he hasn't been out on these roads, but you know what trucks are in the Loves and the TA's shops, and you know what Loves and TA's shops look like when you drive through and need a tire or got an emergency fix. You know what those shops look like. They're dirty, they're ratty. The dudes that work there are some of them are kids, and they don't give a shit, and there's old guys in there that are dirty and grease monkeys. That's what you're going to get if you can mentally deal with that. That's the best way to go, because you don't spend no money. But with that being said, when I worked at night, when I switched mixer companies and I went to night about a year and a half ago for like 8 months, you can eat off a night's floor, right? You can eat off their shop floor. They got heat and cooling in summer and heating in the winter. You know, it's a clean. It looks like a race shop, but they don't offer an apprentice program, right? You got to come in there loaded, ready to go on day one. So I mean, that's what I would say on the different. It depends on who's training you, right? If you Loves and you got 3 26-year-old guys that work there that basically just want to be like Josh and smoke dope every day while in between changing tires, it's probably not going to be a great experience. That's the
allegedly,
right?
Allegedly,
sorry, allegedly, of course.
Thank you.
But I mean, that's the only caveat I would say.
I just want to say about Harbor Freight Tools, I ain't got no hate with them, man. I've got a mixture of everything, man, like all kinds of brands, from Snap-on and Craftsman, Harbor Freight. I mean, fucking everything. And I've never had a Harbor Freight tool break, and the ones I've had break, I take them back and they replace it for free. But dude, I have that same hammer,
probably
bro.
A 15-year-old Harbor Freight dead blow right here.
I have that same exact hammer.
Right. This has probably been out in the Gulf of Mexico with me, right? And it's right here, ready to go. So, I mean, I guarantee that's a mean, that went to the rigs with me at one point. I mean, if you were to open, I have an old Snap-on box, a 78 model box sitting right here next to my laptop right here. And if you would go open any of these drawers in here and go to my shop, everything's, for the most part, name brand in there. But 10 years ago when I moved up here, I was rocking a Harbor Freight used U.S. General box. I was rocking the Mix Max wrenches, right? Because I didn't have a whole lot other than kind of my start. And I didn't go out. I wasn't gonna go in the truck and drop 30 grand on the Snap-on truck so I could have all Snap-on wrenches. Because in all reality, like you said, is if you break one, you take it right back to Harbor Freight. And honestly, they're icon stuff. And there's plenty of other brands out there, Williams, OTC, that are really good brands. They're just as good as Snap-on. They're just not. They're not promoted, right? They're not promoted like that stuff is.
Dude, I love some Harbor Freight tools, man. Especially mechanics tools. I mean, I wouldn't say so much like they're like if you're like construction and stuff, like I would say be careful about that. Like their nail guns are trash. Like their compressors, some of them are, but like mechanic stuff, wrenches, sockets, that kind of shit, 100%. Now, before I move on to my next question about tools, just want to ask this additional question about tools. Would you say that the most expensive tools you buy are the ones you only use like once or twice?
Yeah, that pisses me off. That really pisses me off, especially GM.
Bro.
GM has those fucking weird stars and bullshit that pisses me off because I work on a lot of GM.
Yeah, like Smiths.
Yeah.
Today, I don't care. I don't keep my half-inch Milwaukee, which I use this a lot, right? But I meant my half-inch Milwaukee electric gun in my box because I have air at the shop, everything and my service truck has air on it. And today the compressor wouldn't start, right? And I didn't have it with me, right? So what good is that $300 Milwaukee tool? Because it's sitting on this shelf right here in my garage, nowhere to be seen, right? But yeah, that's full-on truth, right? The really expensive stuff, you're gonna use it, but that when you need it, you need it. But that's the way it always works out.
All right, man. Hunter, I want to ask this question later because I could tie it into some. I think it could be its own subject. So go with yours.
Well, shit, I'm looking through them right now. Narc, you are like one of the rare people that come out here and absolutely lay down the truth with time, like not just in 30 seconds, but we had these questions lined up. So let me see here.
All right, I'll just roll into mine real quick.
Yeah, roll into it, bro.
All right, no, I do. All right, man. So the question I was going to ask next had to do specifically with tooling for EV, but I would actually like to make this its own topic, man. Are you looking into getting into any type of training to deal with like the EV stuff, man? I mean, it's out there right now. We all know it's going to continue to slowly roll out, but are you looking to get into any training to learn to deal with that stuff and tooling as well?
I personally am not, right? Because I'll be 44 next Monday. If it gets to the point where I have to have that, and the equipment I work on won't be that for many years, probably after I'm gone. But if I was going to stick around, especially in the over the road, the trucks, that I can tell you right now, that would be where I would be pushing. Even at 44, that's where I'd be pushing to go, because it's just like anything. That's going to be the next needed people, and it still, I think it's like 10 years off. But Allison Transmission, which is downtown Indy, right? My dad, they used to be General Motors and Detroit Diesel. My dad retired from them, but they have 3 Columbias, right? Freightliner Columbias that have their own. They're not their own. They're GE, electric motors and whatever, but semis there. And I get to go down there because my dad has a bunch of pull there because he's an ex-engineer. And that's what you're going to have to know is how to work on those. And there ain't a damn thing other than maybe connecting batteries that I could tell you about them. I mean, they're not just nuts and bolts, right? everything you say is nuts and bolts. That's not what it is. And I would assume these diesel schools are going to start switching to that. If they're not, it'd be surprising if they're not teaching at least basics of high voltage, because I don't know anything about that, right? I don't. That's way out of my wheelhouse. I'm sure I could pick it up, but I would think they're going to be teaching that right now.
Yeah, I would.
Right, Boggs? Yeah, me around lithium batteries.
That's right, LBC. I saw that. GM is, or damn it, who is it? Not GM, the damn people that own Dodge, Stellantis, what the fuck ever the name of that company. Yes, they just announced that they're cutting back on their EV. They just shut down a plant. GM's about to do the same exact thing and cut back on their EV line too. No one's seen the return in it, and we won't get into that because we'll talk this whole show about EVs. Fuck EVs. But I agree, Ethan. EVs scare everyone. I mean, we haven't talked to NARC about it yet, but I mean, I'm sure it's a deal with him as well, being afraid of him. I mean, the tow truck guy we had on, Eddie B, he talked about the one that he had in his yard. I mean, the thing has to be all by itself just in case it catches fire again. And I mean, when we had,
I was going to roll into that. So that kind of rolls into the question, what kind of maintenance is lacking out here? Well, fuck, I'm twisted up in the head right now. I was on Broadway last night, so forgive me. But like maintenance, what things are people not looking out for, and what are some of these preventative maintenance procedures that can prevent what's going on there?
What up, Smoke? Oh, well, I'll tell you what is. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing when it comes to maintenance is honestly day-to-day stuff. Most things. Josh. Hold on.
We knew it was Josh. Chicago. We all knew. I just guessed. And hit mute on someone. I knew it was Josh.
Oh. No, but so I mean, basic pre-trips. But again, this kind of goes. It's a big deep thing, right? Because is it really that guys aren't doing them, or they don't know? Because I can tell you, when I was at night, right? Sure, I was there a short time, but I learned a lot being at a mega carrier for because we only had 3 mechanics. I went in there as the number 2 mechanic. The first guy was in ahead of me. Because he had a bunch of time, 8 years in there, and he had all his ASEs and stuff. But the biggest thing I would see that came in is tires, and stupid electrical issues. And that's because and electrical is maybe not a general thing, but a lot of it was lights. So checking your lights and knowing they're working properly is kind of a general maintenance thing, right? But tires. I mean, most people lack on tires. They don't know. They don't thump their tires. They don't. I mean, look, thumping a tire is great. I know that's what everybody in a truck. So I can go sit at Love's in the morning and listen to everybody their thumpers down their tires. I can promise you, I would say I specialize in tires more than anything else. I do more tires than anything else because that's what we blow out a lot. And I can't thump a tire and tell you if it's low or high, right? I mean, most times it's gonna be low. Now I can tell you if it's flat, and I can tell you if it's only 20 pounds in it, but thumping a tire doesn't tell you if it's 10 pounds low, and 10 pounds low on a tire will ruin your day eventually, especially in the summer, in the winter too, really, right? Cold roads are just as bad as hot roads, maybe worse. And guys just not taking their trucks in and having them inspected in a good shop, right? Just having somebody that knows go look them over. I mean, these going in and getting DOTs every 90 days is all bullshit, right? I mean, it really is. We know a carrier, probably half the people that are in here from me, best motor carrier, right? The best out there. He gets a DOT every 90 day on his truck. His truck, the last time it went in, had a bald tire, right? I mean, they're just writing these off. So, that, I mean, it's the little things always add up to a big thing, right? That's how it kind of rolls.
I've always been a big person about preventive maintenance, man. Even in my cars, dude. Like I am the guy. My wife's owner's manual is filled out, her maintenance thing. I mean, and I always go by what my dad told me when I got my first car about saving myself money. Is they call it preventive maintenance for a reason, because it prevents shit from happening. And man, I tell you, we talked to Eddie B, you know, even though he does, you know, the towing stuff. We talked to him a little bit about mechanic stuff. We talked to some other mechanics as well that we got lined up for some shows. And they've said, man, Narc, that, you know, a lot of these folks, they're letting this preventive maintenance stuff go to the side. Like you said, also taking these trucks in for inspections is part of that preventive maintenance, man, getting those things looked over, but making sure, you know, guys and gals are changing their fluids, man, you know, getting things done at the proper time it's supposed to get done, even though it's going to cost you money that you may not have now. I mean, would you agree, Narc, that, you know, missing preventive maintenance is going to cost you double, if not more, later on by skipping over those things?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's going to take, if you're not doing preventive maintenance and you're just one of these guys that lucks out and it doesn't really bite you, it's going to take life off your truck. So if you don't get it 6 months from now because you didn't change, I don't know, you didn't keep up on your oil changes in a timely manner, it may not bite for 4 years, but when your motor seizes up at 850,000 instead, whether you realize you're paying for it because of that or not. But one issue, I talked to Corey about this on the phone, is not a lot. All these big companies now, just like regular auto manufacturers, they pull out their oil change, the PMs. Like Volvo right now on Mac is saying 75,000 miles between oil changes. Well, people that don't know see that, and they're driving a 2018 Volvo, and they say, "Oh, Volvo just said we ain't got to do oil changes."
I've seen that, dude.
Which means we can put another 25 on it, and now we can just do oil change every 100,000 miles, right? Because Volvo said it, and you know.
Sorry, bro. That lag keeps fucking with me. I'm so sorry, man. I didn't mean.
I know the lag. You're good.
But I have seen. I tried helping a friend out a few months ago, setting up a maintenance schedule for his Kenworth T680, and man, when I first started driving, and you're as old as I am, you've been dealing diesel stuff long enough. You probably remember this. Probably some of the people watching, but when I drove, dude, you got oil changes like every 15 to 20,000 miles. Like it was like once a month, once every other month, you were getting a fucking oil change done, man. You know, I mean, and now it's 45,000, 75,000, and it's absolutely crazy. And I don't know. I know cars are the same way now. Some cars go 15,000 miles, but I still change mine. I use synthetic oil, and I change mine every 5 to 7,500. So like I'm like using half of the oil life, but I don't buy into it. I'm sorry, I don't buy into it.
No, and I run full synthetic too, which I mean really should be a double coverage. But I mean, oil's got better, just like everything else. Oil's got better. So the oil is better, but I don't trust it. And there's no way of proving it any different other than when at the end of the day you can say, well, my motor didn't lock up, or I didn't need an in-frame until I hit 1.2 million miles. Because the guys that are out here doing them at 800,000, there's a reason for that. I mean, it's just not because because you have a piece of shit ISX Cummins, right? That's not the reason. It's because you didn't stay up on your maintenance. I mean, there's anomalies to all that, but day to day, that these things are to run. Even with the after treatments, right? That's knocked it down with the soot and oil and stuff. They still should be getting them long miles if you're doing your oil changes and you're, changing your coolant fluid and changing your filters and doing what you need to do, right? Checking them, doing oil samples, all that good stuff.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm glad to hear you say that, man. It's good stuff. People need to hear that shit from a mechanic. You know what I mean? I mean, they think, oh, the manufacturer just says it to say it, man. Hey, like I said, again, it's called preventive maintenance for a fucking reason. It's I don't know. It never goes never ceases to amaze me, the stupidity of people and when they invest their money in something like a truck, you know what I mean? And they don't do everything they can to prevent that thing from breaking down and having to have major repairs done to it. All right, Narc, my final question. What do you think about these third-party repair contracts? Things like with what is it, Iron Maintenance or something like that? What do you think about those kind of deals?
Yeah. All right. So Iron Maintenance is part of Knight, right? And Iron Maintenance is now shut down. They shut that down earlier this year because it wasn't making any money for them. But I did Iron Maintenance. Fuck, I got like 6 Iron Maintenance shirts in the house. I wear them to work every week. But I'm gonna tell you that it's kind of the same, right? It's a hit or miss, and it's a sad deal because the people that don't know about their truck maintenance also don't know about the shops that they are putting their trucks in, if they're a good shop or not. I think the bigger companies are always going to have the better quality mechanics because they pay more out the box. But if you're a guy that somewhat knows, I mean, you get your real love in massaging on your truck, right? If you go to a mom and pop that, again, has, you know, the father and the son that work in the shop, and they really like, you know, they like trucks, right? They enjoy seeing a badass 389 come through the door, and they're gonna, you know, shine the headlights when they're done putting the hood down, right, and make sure there ain't no fingerprints on it. I think, I mean, honestly, it's kind of a toss up, and that's sadly where, if you don't know, I mean, if you don't know yourself, you're kind of at a crapshoot when you put it in with these big shops, one of these third tier, because you don't know who's working on your shit. And that's a terrible answer, but I mean, I try to treat any vehicle, including the, you know, these crappy ass mixers I work on, that other people believe that or not, right? I mean, as far as mounting tires on rims, right, and rotating the tires so, you know, the lettering is over the damn valve stems, right, and it all looks pretty. But lots of people aren't like that, so they just don't give a shit. And I don't know, you have to watch out because that's everywhere nowadays, sadly, even in the big ones.
Narc, you're a fucking fantastic mechanic. You have worked your ass off. You have done things that no pussy boy man would ever fucking do. And I
That's
respect
right.
what the hell you do. But some people might think that you're a troll. And you know, we touched on the Noah thing earlier, and you know, we're playing smart ball out here. But you know, how did that get started, man? Let's dive into your personal side of life on this thing. You know, where did NARC come from? Because you got the sign behind you. Show the sign. CodeNameNARC.
The sign, what, this? Yeah.
Yeah.
This here.
Where did all this come from, man? What stemmed?
That's a moniker. So I was telling you guys, I don't know how many people in your chat or whatever, but there's an app called Zello. It's like a walkie-talkie app. It's a CB app. It's pretty much an app like running CB in a truck. It's just channels, right? People put a channel together, and you basically hit a button to talk. And for all the guys, the older generation of truckers, I think most of you probably, if you weren't on CBs, right, you were on group phone calls while you were riding down the highway all day long, just bullshitting with, you know, but just cussing out the four-wheeler that cut you off and talking about what you're seeing and talking about how you're better than the next guy, you know, behind you or whatever, and cussing out other drivers. So there's a group, Randy Spears, I think he was in here earlier, but Randy Spears owns a channel called the NFG, that stands for No Fucks Given. Probably one of the older trucking that's still around. There's been a few channels. That's just, I mean, it's just truck. I mean, obviously I'm not a truck driver, but it's day to day we bullshit about trucking in there. It's just like, it's kind of like Spaces. If any people, for whoever's been Spaces, is you get a core group of people that are in there day to day, you know, 7 days a week, fucking, I don't know, 16 hours a day, right? When they're not sleeping, they're on Zello. My shit's big on YouTube's not so much on anything else, is we have like a genre of, I would call it drama trucking, right? There's plenty of YouTube. There's hundreds of thousands, I guess, tens of thousands of YouTube trucker channels that are really good people, and they're positive, and they talk about how good trucking is and how much money they made today, and they talk about their loads. Our side of YouTube trucking is basically just trying to trash the next guy. I mean, it trolling the next guy. That's what we kind of did. And I got called out I don't know, literally about 2 years ago in August. There was a couple guys that I just trolled in the chats, right? Just live feeds, and we just trolled them. And a couple guys basically put a bounty out to dox me and come find me. So I started a channel, and I mean, where we are at today because of those two wonderful guys. And we've taken down I'm not gonna say but we've taken down a bunch of bad, I would consider, I mean, it's nothing to nobody, right? But a few bad actors, right, that push predatory leases and stupid referral programs that they're just trying to make $1 off somebody that's an unsuspecting victim, basically like they're a scam artist. And you know, I feel like we try to, anybody, just like the Noah thing, right? Anybody that's out here that I know about that's doing some foul shit. I mean, for the last couple of years, I've been on my crusade to, I don't know, take them down. I don't know how else to say it. That's a stupid way of saying it, because it's not like we're out here fucking doing superhero shit or anything. But
dude,
I mean, that's where my channel. If you were,
Narc, did you ever notice the connection with the logistics line was first taken off? First, Matt Dog came on, and then started saying that we were buying reviews, or that they were buying fucking reviews, fucking hater. And then Matt Dog introduced us to Sean Matthews, who does all that bullshit.
Yep.
And no, I'm gonna calm down, guys. I'm just saying, like, these are all grifters that show up, and then they want to ride our wave.
Yep.
You know, and then like just be cool, motherfucker, be a homie, you know. And then like the everyday working guys like us, right? They want to shaft, especially drivers. We don't drive no more. Pedro's a broker, Hunter's a broker. You know, he manages assets, and you know, you're a mechanic. I manage a trucking company and a somewhat of a brokerage, and like, you know, but the drivers, dude, like, we're making money. I hate to say it, but the drivers, well, that's debatable. I know Pedro probably doesn't believe that. You know, he's not. You know, it's a bad market. It's a bad market, you know, for all of us. And we're making money, but we're not behind the steering wheel, right? We're not seat warmers. And so I say that to say, like, these motherfuckers are grifters, and this is why I get so passionate, and this is why I go after them. Like, unless, you know, they should hear us out. And they can't even handle questions from us. I mean, you know who I'm talking about, Dave. And I know the audience doesn't know who they are, but it's the grifters. And Narc, what I love about Narc is that, one, he's an asshole, and I love him. But two, you know, he goes after those grifters. He'll call you out, and he'll call me out. You don't give a freak flying fuck. You know, he's called me out. You know, and that's the type of dude he is, and I call him out. You know. Yeah, that's one of the. I went on my rant. Yep. I had to change up. Because my boys told me I was gonna go ham, dude. I swear to God, I was. I'm glad you guys said something. Thank you.
No, it's just. It's a hard thing because, I mean, it's a little segment of a big industry, right? But it doesn't have to, just like you said, and a lot of the guys from the NFG or from the YouTube worlds, they don't know the Sean Matthews, and they don't care, and I don't blame them for not caring, right? I'm not trying to bring them over to X and all this other bullshit, but it's the same type of people, and for these guys, they'll know these are the same type of people as the Jason Potes, and they'll know what I'm talking about, and the fucking little guys, and the Ike Stevens, and the fucking damn Stuart Warby's, right? These are the same people. I mean, these people are everywhere. That's pretty easy to know, right? There's grifters everywhere. There's shit bags that are trying to scam the next guy everywhere. And that's bullshit. And most of these guys put on a big, heavy front like they're bad. I don't know. I just put a stop to that when that shit started happening to me. And it wasn't that they were, and I me as a we, because were attacking our whole little group, right? They're like, oh, this guy's in our chat and he's part of the NFG and they ain't got no muscle, right? And I don't know. I mean, half those dudes, they're nowhere to be found on YouTube. You might see them in a chat every once in a while, but I mean, they're bitch asses. They ran away when they thought they were gonna get their ass slapped around. They ran away, and I don't know. I guess I'm glad they did, because of that. My channel, if you would have seen my channel a year ago, you know it was totally different because shit was popping. I mean, there ain't a whole lot going on right now. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's not a good thing for videos and drama, you know, to watch if you're a viewer per se of our little shit show we got going on. So anyways, but
I've been trying.
That's where I came from. I literally.
Sorry, bro. Thought you were done.
No, go ahead. No, I am. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've been trying to find this the whole fucking time, and I can't. But I'm gonna find this. But everyone will know what I'm talking about. You know who? The entire time you've been on the show, Narc, I've been thinking about one thing and one thing only. And it's that fucking hologram guy. I thought it was Coke. Maybe it's from Pepsi commercial, but from like the fucking 80s and stuff where like he's stuttered, bring some. I'm gonna find this fucking video, dude, and show this shit. Josh, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I do. Dude, I remember Blockbuster. Blockbuster used to play it over and over and over and over.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Dude, the whole time. That is what I've been thinking about.
I can tell you that, I mean, for the YouTube drama side, and like I said, the NFG guys that are in here and the YouTube guys that are in here, is that shit was a lot more fun a year ago because there was more players in the game. Because, I mean, I was dropping videos, sometimes 2 a day, just roasting motherfuckers and pulling shit bags that were fucking doing dirty deeds out of it. I mean, running them out. And of course, if you don't know who they are, it doesn't fucking matter if you're watching video because you don't know who the fucking person's talking about anyways. But for the people that do, but sadly, I mean, there's out here, they don't do it out in public. You're right. They don't do it on social media anymore. They just do it, you know, behind the scenes. So people like me won't find them because I mean, just like the Sean Matthews dude. Look, that dude messaged me this morning and he fucked up this morning and he knows he fucked up, right? Like, and I'll share it with you, Josh, or you guys after this. I mean, he bet, dude, even after all the shit that went down yesterday and the last week, I didn't really have a fire for him because he's just a nobody, right? I mean, I hate to make myself sound like I'm really something I'm not, but I mean, he was just low level fucking shit on the ground. But this morning he messaged me kind of out of the blue and he lit a fire. And I mean, I'm going to fucking, we won't talk about it on here, right? Because I know there's other things that
we won't.
Great with this. But I mean, he lit a fire and I'll be watching right
motherfuckers the time of day.
A fire, Sean, that you ain't going to be able to put out, motherfucker. And I appreciate him for that. Right? I'm going to bring him over to YouTube. Whether my YouTube fucks that follow me around like it or not, you're going to learn who these people are.
YouTube fucks.
Shove it down your fucking throat, too.
All right.
That way you guys care about it, right? So you'll enjoy when I fucking burn these fuckers down.
That's right.
Because I'm going to enjoy the fuck out of it.
All right, we're going to close. We're going to close it out here in a second. I'll ask you a final question, but before we do, I found what I'm looking for. Oh yeah, here we go, bro.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. God, Pedro.
In the history of there's more, because you are going to see it as well. Yes, it. Yes, it. Yes, namely, the Max syndrome story. And afterwards, that is directly following, I want to talk to you about something even bigger, namely, Max syndrome. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy my film.
God, you got so much content here, dog.
Bro, I was that's not a dig at you, man. I'm not making fun. Like the whole time, that fucking thing has been stuck in my head, man. That fucking guy, dude. I could not think of who it was. Oh my jeez. That's been plaguing me this whole damn time.
Yeah. Look, as far as the one thing that, I mean, you three sitting here, I think feel like have figured this out. A lot of people that are adults figure it out. But if you're gonna fuck around on social media, just in general, even if you're not trying to be, like a dirty actor or whatever the fuck you want to call it, you have to be able to let shit roll off your back, right? Like in my world, if you knew some of the nasty shit that's been said that gets done, right? I mean, I promise tonight I'll have 10 pizzas delivered to my house because of this live feed right here, right? Like people doxing and fucking. I promise, I'll video that they're cash on delivery. They'll start showing up at 9 o'clock till the pizza place is shut down. But if you
allegedly
can't deal with like people saying about you and you can't react to it, I mean, you're going to lose every time, right? That's just the way it is.
All right. Final question. Mr. Ethan, the young man who's going to diesel school, he said, what is the coolest truck? And I'll even add to it, Ethan, because maybe he can't think of a specific truck. What is the coolest truck or engine you've ever worked on in your career?
Okay. It would be an engine, but it'd be an engine. So when I worked offshore, I went, like I said, every once in a while I'd go to other rigs. I went to an old small jackup rig. I don't know, fucking probably built in the 60s, 50s, and small, like 30 by 30 triangle, because jackup rigs are usually in like a triangle form, and everybody knows what this sign is right here. So there you go. But its power plants were 6V92s. Goddamn supercharged 6V92s, and whoever, I mean, I don't know, Detroit, I guess, had stuck like, I don't know, I'm gonna say it was 4 of them, but I can't remember if it's 3 of them or 4 of them together to make it a 12 or a V12 or V16. And I mean, that's before phones, right? But that was like sitting next to, if you've ever sat next to like a funny car, like a top alcohol rail car, or one of the 8,000 horsepower drag motors. It was wild, just with the superchargers, and basically it's a 2-stroke. It's loud as shit. That was probably the coolest thing. I've never really worked on a lot of cool trucks. I have a bunch of buddies that have old W9s, and Peterbilts and cab overs that are old farm guys, right? They were their farm work trucks. But if anybody knows anything about grain haulers, they're kind of like cattle haulers. They have, they like their trucks fancy, right? They spend lots of money on a truck. So, I mean, I can think of a few W9s and stuff that I've been around that are, are tricked out with big Cam Cummins and, 6NZ cats that are twisted up to 2,000 horsepower and shit like that. But, I mean, the trucks themselves probably aren't anything. They're not truck show material, right? They're just, good old work trucks with big motors in them.
Man, we have a guest that I'm just trying to set a date with that he'll prove that last statement wrong. It's a grain hauler that is show worthy. Yeah. Badass fucking truck. Bad. Matter of fact, it'll be our Cool Truck Thursday this week. You can go and watch it. It's a working fucking grain truck here in Texas, dude.
Yep.
Like it works.
I know there's plenty of grain haulers that got that. Yeah, they take a lot of pride in their inches. And,
hell
yeah, got that shit sitting on the ground, even though they're driving fields all day long and can't keep the fucking front right wheel on the ground when they take off. Yeah.
This one's all stock, man. It's an old school, so he wanted it factory, but it's still a disgusting fucking truck, dude. It's a super nice truck, man. And I follow the guy on Instagram. I've actually seen it working since I first met him at the truck show, and it's sitting there winning awards, dude. So it's pretty good. And that motherfucker's just as shiny out in the fields as it was sitting inside that event center. I'm like, dude, how the hell you keep that thing so clean, man?
I'll tell you what, is one thing one thing I would tell Ethan, if I had to do it all over again, and I didn't, I mean, I grew up. I'm lucky, right? I grew up. I mean, my dad's 82, 83 years old, and he's got a garage, not a garage full, but a few hot rods, right? 37 Fords and 32 Deuces, right? And he's got a bunch of cool ass shit with big blocks, and and I've always been around cool cars because farmers got cool shit. But if I were to go work in a truck shop when I was young, I would go work in a custom shop somewhere. Maybe not like what's the shop where they do all like the truck go to shows, like it's not Gas Monkey, but like the
Whistling
like
Diesel,
Iowa 80. What's the thing that's out there with Iowa 80? The Mafia. What is it? Chrome Mafia.
Mafia?
Chrome Shop Mafia.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go work there, but you could go find. I would choose to go work in a custom where they work on nothing. You ain't bringing a fucking 2018 Volvo that some fucking you know what I mean, fucking head. The goddamn is all greasy, nasty. I'd go choose to work at a shop where you get to work on cool shit all day long. That would have been the way I would have went, right? That's what I would have wanted to work on. Because again, it's a pride thing, and it would be fun, right? You're gonna get to see cool shit that, I mean, once you've seen one Volvo, you've seen all the Volvos, right? I mean, it just is what it is. That's kind of where it gets to be born again. Or born to me.
Narc, I would answer this, but it's your dad, so I'll let you. Ethan says, when you say a 32 Deuce, are you talking about a Duesenberg?
No, I'm sorry. I said it wrong. A 32 coupe, like a 32 coupe, a Ford.
32 Deuce coupe. Right?
Yep.
I knew what you meant. He's yeah. You have to go. Well, hey, Steve, Ethan, tell your dad to look up a 32 Ford coupe. I'm assuming that's probably what Narc's talking about.
Yeah, like a 32. Yeah, like a 3-window.
Is it hot rodded or is
you
it?
Can't find anything in your phone when you're trying to find pictures in your phone and shit. But somewhere.
Did your dad hot rod it? Did he chop it up?
Oh yeah. I mean, everything he does. I mean, he's been retired for I don't know 20 years, 25 years now. Yeah, so everything he's got.
Man, I'm jealous.
I mean, I would say pimp to the max. I mean, he drives his shit right. Like he just went out. He's taking the 32 out to the LA Roadster show out in California from here, and they drive them right. They don't put them on trailers. So only time they'll trailer them is if they're going to be there for like maybe a super long time or something. Or if they're going and they know the weather's going to be really bad, like they go up to the show in May, tail run, and it's in October, so they'll put them on trailers because of the weather, and that's really the only reason why is because they could get stuck in some nasty weather between here and there. But other than that, I mean, he builds them to drive, and I know his buddies do too. They're drivers. They're not great drivers, but they're drivers. There we go. There's like his 37, right? That's his baby, right? That's a 37 coupe with a aluminum 327 with tri-deuces on the top. Like that's his baby. And then there's like his 38 Ford pickup, which is an original. You can't see it in there, but that's an original service truck from the town I grew up in.
No
have
shit.
the biggest fish hatchery in the Midwest, and that's an original service truck. And that on the side is originally how they looked, like the paint, and he has it all done up in the back. But I mean, he built all that, right? That was just a rust bucket. That was damn.
Dude, he likes his dad he Jeffs his truck. He patinas them. Remember Jeff? Jeff. That's the patina we all want. So his dad's trucks are Jeff Dickinson.
Yeah, nothing. My dad used to have a couple trucks and cars that were painted, and then from then on out, everything is matte, right? Like there's the aluminum 327 that's in that 37 coupe right there, right? And I mean, literally, he drives that everywhere. I mean, he's been driving it for years. He built it, I don't know how many years ago, and he drives it everywhere. I mean, that's his baby. And the pickup truck too. It's got a flathead Ford in it. I mean, he drives them. They go. He drives them everywhere.
Dude, you and King Spud would be great friends because he's been working on that Oldsmobile in his garage forever.
Yep.
Didn't he bring it to his new house, Pedro?
Yeah. He bought a trailer just to haul it.
Yeah, dude, like he was on our show like on a Freestyle Friday one night, like for hours, just trying to get this thing to crank up. But that's
You know what I picked? You know what I picked up yesterday? It was 87 RX-7 for only 1,700. It was on Marketplace for like
go.
2 hours.
Hell yeah.
Snatched that bitch quick.
You said 87 RX-7.
Hey, Terry Cab Over Kid, Josh, that comes in our X spaces every once in a while. She's got an RX-7. She's out in California. She got probably an early 90s RX-7 sitting in her garage, a light blue one. She's an RX-7 chick.
I'm gonna restore this one. I haven't restored this at RX-7 in like my dad said 21 years.
I mean,
I'm gonna post it on Twitter before and after and all that shit.
what color is it?
hell yeah.
It's gray. Factory gray. OEM gray. No.
Yeah. Oh, that's a super.
I love the RX-7s. I'm just not a fan of the.
There you go.
Wait. No. It's a 92 RX-7. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's the next, like that next gen up from that, which is
Yeah.
almost that. Only the bumpers are a little different, right? Not as squared. They ain't really squared anyways.
Yeah. Around.
More massaged, maybe.
Is that it, Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's beat up in a motherfucker though.
Hey, but it's a freaking
floor is like
project,
gone,
man. Cars are dope. Dude, and see, Narc, that's the coolest thing about your job is like, you know, talking about my dad. They're like, dude, mechanics, y'all can fix fucking anything, and if you don't know how to fix it, you'll figure it out real quick.
Or we know. Yeah, or the best thing is I know somebody that can. That's the beauty, right? Like, I mean that's one thing. I mean, I've as big of a troll as I am on YouTube and in our Zella rooms and spaces. I mean, if you're not a douchebag, I ain't gonna help a douchebag out, right? That I think, but I mean, I can help anybody out because if I don't know it, I'll find somebody that does, right?
All right, so that kind of brings me into my last question here. Is, you know, obviously you've worked your ass off, you've done a lot of incredible things in your field, and a lot of people think you're a troll, but it seems like you're a real Robin Hood out here for the good guys versus the bad guys type thing. But, you know, what are some things that people should know about you that misjudge you? You know, like there's got to be some misunderstandings, right?
And, you know, you always say the truth when you say, hey, let me be honest with you. And, you know, that's a truthful statement that's coming exactly next after that. But I mean, I probably get a bad rep, but I intentionally give myself a bad rep, right? Like I'm a grudgy dude. I'm a real grudgy guy, and I mean, Josh would know probably better than either of you in spaces a lot more. Is like once you piss me off, I mean, like I'm not gonna let up. You're gonna have to force me to let up, and so far I'm not trying to be a superhero out here, but they ain't nobody forcing me to let up on them. And,
I mean, but it seems like you're a good guy too, man.
Like, motherfuckers go away.
You drove 100 miles to bring someone a radiator? What? Out of the kindness of your heart? That's
homies,
crazy.
right?
You're an asshole.
They're down. I mean, I'm not going to burn anybody. I don't pick and choose. Like, I don't wake up in the morning and be like, oh, look at this dude on YouTube. Let's pick on him today, right? Like I've never done that. I don't think there's anybody that didn't start with me. That I mean, like I just picked somebody and said, you know what, I'm gonna start fucking with that guy today because he's friends with that guy. They've all kind of now maybe it's been really light. Maybe they did something that would be borderline, like he's not really trying to pick a fight with you or argue with you, and maybe I took it too far. But I mean, I don't know. I'm a take it too far kind of guy. I've always been that way, right? So that's probably what gets me my bad deal on here. But I'm good with that, right? That keeps a lot of the people away, right? Like if you're nice all the time, motherfuckers they want to talk to you all the time. I'm good with just keeping that small circle, right?
And I think you got a good take on that, especially on the internet, man. Like, you know, either have a conversation about it man to man, or you know, hey, bring it to light, or you can just lay down.
Oh, walk her out.
Or you can just lay down. But Narc, you're the man. I respect the hell out of what you've done, who you are, what you do, and You know what? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, and they all
That's
stink.
right.
But I think you're fucking pretty cool, man. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, bro.
For
I
Tow
appreciate
Truck
it, man.
Tuesday. I think we talked about tow trucks for maybe
appreciate
3
it.
minutes out of this hour and a half, but
I just want the YouTube world to know about Narc. Even though his right hand is shorter than his left hand, and his left leg is shorter than his right leg, he'll still fuck you up. He's misunderstood.
Dang
Ding dong.
Fuck you. Why'd you have to tell him all that, bro?
And with that, Josh, any exiting comments,
Right.
plugs?
I do.
What kind of cigar is that, first of all?
It's Romeo y Juliet. Julieta. 2004.
That's old school, man. It's like you're in a time machine from
yeah.
1920.
I opened the 2004, bro. Smoking 2004 for you, Narc, because you're that special to me.
Let's go.
Narc, the reason why you're special is
Thank you,
because you do fight those. You know, you're a man, bro. You ain't no pussy. There's no other way to put it. And you fight for the little man, for children, for women. You know what I'm talking about, Narc. And you fight just for the little trucking guys, man. Look at what you did with Thomas. You know, people think that a truck radiator is not the size of a Honda radiator, guys. It's big than a motherfucker. He damaged his car. Like, I'm putting your business out there, but he's that type of dude. He's just that type of dude, you know. And Narc, just thank you, brother. Keep doing you, man. You're a good family man, brother, and keep being a good mechanic. Keep giving free advice. You know when you charge people, you're not a grifter, bro. And yeah, hopefully it gets repaid back to you, man.
Fucking right.
Yeah.
Pedro.
Every time we take one of these shits down, he gets paid a little bit back. I like it.
I mean, I guess what all I gotta say is, I mean, thanks for coming on, man, and answering our questions, sharing the stuff, dude. I mean, you really did, as Hunter said, you've done some interesting things, man. You know, and I like people who get in an industry and you know, they touch different parts of it. You know what I mean? Just like the truck driver that's a broker, the broker that's a driver, the trucker that's a fleet manager, you know, or the cop that becomes an attorney. Like, I think it's cool when someone gets into a field or an industry and they like to explore it, man, see the things they like, learn things, you know, and progress their trade and their knowledge. And so, you know, I commend you for that, dude. That oil rig stuff, man, I don't know if I could do it. I never looked into doing it, but I know some people that were out there working on them, and that's some hard fucking shit right there, man. But more so, I would say more so the roadside stuff, man, that you do is the dangerous thing. You know, being out there, you talked about it on I-70, 465, you know, even some of these back roads, speed limits are, you know, 50, 60 plus, or 65, I'd say, in Indiana. And, you know, that is a dangerous thing, man. And it does take a certain person, you know, that has, I should say, nerves are still calm, cool, collective, you know, to be able to do that stuff, because it's not just being a mechanic, you know, at that part. You know, you're also, in a sense, your own safety supervisor. So thanks for just sharing everything, man. And like Josh said, you know, for giving all that information for free, you know, giving Ethan some tips and answering some questions for him, you know, that's another big thing that a lot of generations don't think about, is the ones that come after them, and teaching them and leading them, you know, and trying to help them out, not make the mistakes that you made or go down the wrong paths in a career field, you know, like you may have or other people have. So thank you for doing that as well. And I really hope you keep doing that, man, you know, helping those coming after you to be better and learn things, man, and not being one of those asshole veterans like there are in every industry that, oh man, you know, it took me 20 years to learn this. You got to put in your time, young buck. Well, you know, I mean, or you could just not be a fucking dick and just teach the shit to me right now, and we can forego all of that. So I love that. Thanks for coming on, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, yeah, like I said, I appreciate it. I'm glad I got the chance for sure.
Absolutely.
There's Randy right there. Yeah, that's the dude that.
Yeah. Hey, all of NARC's watchers right now. Anybody subscribe to NARC right now? Go follow at Logistics Lounge on YouTube. Subscribe. That's what it's all about. You can chirp at us all day long. But hey, NARC, you are the fucking man. So where can people find you? You got any plugs? You know, like what you got going on, man?
Well, Daycab, is Daycab still in here? A Daycab, if you're in here, throw the link up for Zello. I'm gonna put a forewarning out. If you pop in the NFC or the Zello room, you download the link. I'm just telling you right now, it's a rough place when you start off in there. But if you because motherfucker, everybody's trollish, right? Like that's why I'm the way I am, because we troll each other, man. We try to break each other down all day long because we ain't got nothing better to do, right? I'm not driving down the road, but I'm just in the shop. But I have 2 YouTube channels because I get a lot of strikes on YouTube. And both of them, I don't know where. I mean, they're both CodeNameNARC, right? And I'm trolling a dude. So one of them's CodeNameNARC, the other one's Grub Street CodeNameNARC, and that's because we got a long troll going on right now. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube under that. I'll throw up. You know what? I'll just put the links in the chat, and if anybody wants to sub and reach out to me, and I'll make a video and explain for the people that are new what happens on our channels when we go live. There's plenty of videos up there to kind of learn.
Narc is the fucking goat.
Ethan, holler at me, man. I'm good with that.
Yeah, bro. Dude, Ethan, dude, Rob, how cool is that to see like the transgression of all of this, man? Knowing Ethan before he was going into this, and now being able to, like, dude, the Talamo boys, they're reckoned to be forced to be reckoned with. But hey, Narc, thanks again, brother. You are the truth. Like, thank you for being a friend. We'll definitely have you back on. And I got a little idea here, especially with what Ethan has going on, man. Hey, a little mechanics minute type shit, you know, might be able to get on. But my exiting comments here. Everybody be sure to tune in tomorrow at 3:30-ish Central Time in the Logistics Lounge. We got Freight Ninja coming on. Pedro, you wanna chime in on that a little bit?
Yeah, man. Going to continue talking about the offerings for parking out there for trucks. Met those guys through Truck Parking Club. Actually, they're on their platform. They own their own sites. Got several of them. So we've had Truck Parking Club on. We've had Riggies, and now we're going to bring them on and get their take on things, how they feel about stuff. What are they doing to try to make change beyond just buying properties and giving you drivers places out there to park. And again, it'll be someone else that y'all can feed comments and suggestions to drivers. You know, I mean, y'all are the one paying for them. Y'all are the one parked in them. So it should only go to say that the customer should have a say in what is provided. So that would be a really good one. Tune in for that. And Friday, freestyle. Yeah. Watch out.
Kick like karate.
Hey, I got
Pedro Potato always says.
Before you guys, are you guys ready to, like, shut it down, like cut it off completely?
We are here in a minute.
On the screen. We're gonna end the show, but we'll catch you backstage. Sweet. All right, and as Pedro Potato always says, chunk them deuces, Mr. Me, roll that beautiful toe footage.